Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Hi. Thank you, Bob. That is what the mute button does.
We've been just having a wonderful day today.
Yeah, as usual, we're scrambling and doing things last minute.
We have children.
Feed kids and get our acts together in time for this show. So thank you so much for joining us. A whole bunch of you out there. Hello, Mort. As said again, hello. That's the second one. Hello, Mort. How are you? Hello, Marilyn Bast, intuitive painter, medium and good friend of ours from Horn Paranormal Research. And I see Kim is out there. Hello, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
What is going on? I see Cheryl Ann. Hello, Cheryl Ann. How are you? And of course, Bob. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for the tip, buddy. I would have just kept talking for like another 15 minutes.
Sure.
Anne-Marie Young. Hello.
Hi, Ann.
Hello.
Hello,
How are you
family.
doing? Barbara Woodbury Spear. Hello. Good evening. And Jack Kilowatt on our YouTube page, which you guys should all like and subscribe.
Please.
And please check out, because we're trying to add people there if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/@darkhorse paranormal. And yeah, we've got some stuff out there that's nowhere else too. So, you know, check it out. Check it out. Don't be left out. Check it out. Got a great show for you guys. And it's wonderful to see you all out there. We really appreciate it. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
We are. Our guest, we're going to bring him right on because we don't have a whole lot to talk about ahead of the show. We're still reviewing data from our last investigation, but we've got some good data to present tonight from our very good friend, Rex Nielson. He had his first paranormal experience at the tender young age of 4 years old and has been interested ever since. He started All Out Paranormal with his two sons in 2011. He's retired from law enforcement in 2019 after 31 years of duty. And now he's able to do his art. And we're going to talk about his art and show you some. And paranormal investigations full time. He's just had his first book published. And we're going to show that to you right now.
Yeah, we are. Cheers. I have to do that every
Rex
time now.
is an awesome guy. And he sent us the book. And we're going to show you a bit of art he sent us as well. And he signed this, and we're really excited. And thank you, man. Let me bring you right on. Let's get to things. Hello, Rex. How are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me, and thanks for the plug on the book.
Oh yeah,
You're
we're gonna
very
plug that
welcome. Well,
book
thank you for
and your art.
This was awesome.
You betcha. You betcha.
As well as your investigations, because you've been at this for a long time. And one of our favorite things to talk about is childhood experiences. One of the things that we have noticed from being lucky enough to do the show and talk to as many people as we have over the years is how many, and it's a very high percentage, people involved in the paranormal as adults had some sort of paranormal experience, and that encompasses all aspects of the paranormal, meaning it could be ghosts, it could be aliens, it could be Bigfoot looking in the window.
Sure.
As a child. And this happened to you at 4 years old.
Yes.
So let's start there. Can you tell us about that and what you remember?
Yeah. I lived in Raleigh, Iowa. Well, I was born and raised here in Iowa, and I lived on both coasts, East and West Coast. but I've always come back home. About the age of 4, two apparitions showed up in my room one night. And I actually have pictures that I drew of the apparitions that showed up.
Oh, wow.
And those are it.
Well, what do you think of that, Kristen?
I don't want to think about anything like that at all. You swear to God, those are the two apparitions that showed up in your room.
Yes.
They were shadow people, and it
for
looked
4
like that.
years. It
Looked
went
like
on
a
for
hat
4
on one
straight
of them.
years.
We have way more in common, friend, than we actually really thought. Because, oh, please keep going.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
They showed up one night, and I could, like I said, they were like liquid smoke, and they were, all I could see is just the 2 holes where their eyes are supposed to be. And I could hear them in my head, and they kept telling me the most disgusting, awful, horrific things. And I've never repeated them to this day, and I will not. The only thing I will tell you is that they wanted me to kill my baby sister.
Yeah.
And they tried every single, and this was 4 years straight, every single night they would appear, and they would want me to get off the bed. And I would not. I refused. And the more I would turn away and ignore them, the more angry they became with me. And, of course, being 4.5 years old, telling your parents about it, and what do they tell you? You're just having a bad dream. And
wow.
there was, finally, it went over the edge. There was one day I'd been out with my mother, and I'd gotten a bunch of new Hot Wheels, and I'm a little OCD. So my room was 10 foot by 8 foot. I had a huge bedroom, and my cars were across the room, 10 foot across the room, lined up on the top of my dresser. And this night they were being extremely horrific. And I was turning, my bed was in a corner. So I turned to the corner, and I was ignoring them. And it just made them more agitated and angry. And all of a sudden my cars started shooting off the dresser 10 foot across the room.
Wow.
And they hit like an invisible wall, and they all fell to the floor. And at that time, 2 more apparitions showed up at the foot of my bed. And I drew a picture of them. And this is what showed up at the end of my bed. This is what I could see. And I could hear them.
Old garb.
Victorian.
Yeah.
Victorian era.
I could hear them saying, "Don't worry, we'll be here. We'll always be here to protect you." And I call them the good ones, and of course the other ones the bad ones. And like I said, this went on for 4 years, and they probably showed up 6 to 8 months into this ordeal when the bad ones had shown up. And they would show up every night, and they would protect me and shield me from them. And when we moved away at the age of 8, we moved to Oregon, and it stopped. I never seen either one of them ever again after we had left the home. Till about 4 years ago. What?
It's the co-host.
I was in my bedroom, and I was reading, and all of a sudden my room fills up with this beautiful orangish yellow light. It just envelops the whole room. And of course I'm doing, I'm reading a book, and I'm doing one of these. And at the end of my bed are the good ones. And I can see them as plain as I see you. Wow. He's got a handlebar mustache. He's got a bowler on. He's got a high starch collar, a pinstripe suit, a cane. She has a beautiful royal blue dress on with a bustle, her hair up in a bun, and she was absolutely beautiful. And I'd never felt such happiness and calmness and serenity before, ever. And it seemed like it went on forever. I don't know how long we just looked at each other, but to me, it seemed like an eternity. It just kept going on, because I didn't want the feeling to go away, for one thing. And
sure,
all of a sudden,
do you see them as like guardian spirits?
That's what I'm thinking, guardian angels or something, because I've looked back at old family photos and everything else, which we've got photos from that era, which they're from, but nobody resembling either one of them. But it just felt like I knew them, the first time they showed up, when all I could see is just the outline of them, basically.
Sure.
And then after a few moments, the gentleman reached down, put his hand on my right leg. The lady reached down and put her hand on my left leg, and they spoke to me. I finally got to see them actually speak. And they said, "Don't worry, we will always be there for you." And then they just kind of just faded back into the light, and they were gone. But I turned 58 3 weeks ago this Monday, and you're talking this after 55 years they show up,
Right?
Where
were you before?
Yeah.
And
time is a whole different thing on that side, right?
yeah, exactly.
In a different way. Maybe it's just a blink of an eye to them. Anne Marie asked if they were maybe ancestors, and did you have that kind of feeling? Maybe they're
they could. Like I said, most everybody's gone anymore. Everybody's all gone on my dad's side, so there's.
I understand. We understand.
It's hard to find out.
Yes.
It could be. All I know is I'm thankful for him.
Yeah, that is something. And I have to say, the hat, I'm gonna wind back to the kind of the dark ones, and how goddamn mean are these things, right? I mean, we had our childhood experiences too. They were awful, and they would say the worst things.
Yes, but yours said what Chris has said, so this is sort of blending.
Mine said, I had ones that said they were going to kill. One that said it would kill my parents, and then a sort of neutral one that went in between. It was almost like a double agent, if you will.
Yeah.
And he was constantly, telling me the things he was going to do to my parents and how he was going to murder them. And it was very nefarious and dark, and like the kind of thing a little kid should not be hearing.
No.
And I would say run out of the room with like a knife and like red light, and it just they're petrified. And then it would come back, and the next day, nothing had happened, fortunately.
Thank goodness.
But they weren't shadows for me. They were actually clowns, because I had these clown figures in my room. But I don't want to dwell on my thing. I've told that story a lot. Yeah.
It's just weird how
dark, and the things it would tell
never
you.
Hurt anybody with
not
anybody.
The kind of thing you'd want to repeat, right? Because they're so horrifying. And to tell you, for you to kill your sister is a very different thing. Oh. This was them telling me what they were going to do. In Kristen's case, she had the shadows, and the man with the hat. And
well, we know Heidi Hollis, so we can say Hat Man.
Hat Man.
Yes.
Yeah, which
she
is
told me it was okay.
A very interestingly, common shadow figure with the hat, and the whole hat man phenomena is like deeply interesting, because so many people see that. And in Kristen's
right, it was not happy whatsoever. I didn't know what it was at the time, because we were like 4 and 5 years old. We don't know what are these things. But I also had another one that looked like your other one, but it looks like the nun from The Conjuring, the movie, The Conjuring. That's what mine looked like. What did your other one look like? Was it shadowy without the hat? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I saw like orangey red eyes and thought
the eyes were just like this. I don't know. They were white, but
yeah,
you could tell, even though it was just white where their eyes were supposed to be, that that they weren't right. There was no color to them, but I don't know. It's just hard to explain. It was such. It just like went right through you.
Yeah.
because you couldn't see any expressions or anything, just hear the intensity in my head and how angry and they would get, saying things that a 4-year-old has no comprehension of what they're talking about.
You can't even wrap your head around it, right? It's just like so horrifying. You barely understand what it even means, but the implications are just the worst possible thing. And why they would torture children like this is beyond me. I don't know why. Philip Wyatt, what's up, buddy? It's our friend Philip, Georgia paranormal investigator, great guy. He says interdimensional beings. Maybe.
Could be.
I mean, we don't know what they are, but they're so dark at times. If these things are tied to, I don't know, aliens or what we call aliens or, interdimensional beings, as Philip said, the message isn't always good, right? They're there with a very dark message. And why they pick on kids so often?
That's the thing. I'm just checking about that.
I don't know.
I guess because I imagine even the word demon and stuff like that is way overused.
Oh, we call it the dreaded D word.
Yeah.
Great.
But I think they even the grumpy ones know that we're impressionable at that age.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Sure.
And and thinking that they could take us from there.
Interesting. You would have a career in law enforcement. And do you think at any level, have you ever thought that maybe that was an influence as to why you went into the work that you did in your career?
Not really, because I'll tell you quickly why I went into law enforcement. Because my ex-father-in-law told me I was too fat and too stupid.
What?
Yeah. So I took it personally.
Yeah.
And did it for 31 years. And, I wanted to be one when I was younger. I wanted to be a cop when I was younger. Then I don't know. It just kind of went away, and my art kind of just took over for a lot of things. But once that was presented to me, I'm going, you know what? That's bullshit. I'm going to prove you wrong. And, 31 years later, I finally said, enough's enough. And I took it personally, and I proved him wrong. So
yeah.
Good.
But you wonder if that maybe on some subconscious level, maybe it was a driving factor to right the wrongs.
It might have been.
Murder your sister, and I get that, as they would tell me this the worst stuff, and the in between one would just tell me what the plans were of the evil dark one that would sit inanimate in my room, was a little taller than me, until it just came to life and run with just a knife would appear in its hand miraculously, stuff like that, and it just terrifying stuff.
I'm all messed up with this.
Yeah, pushed downstairs.
I had no idea. I got pushed downstairs by the one with the hat.
They aren't nice.
They are nice.
So it's great that you had sort of guardian ones that probably are what we call,
That's what I was saying.
Our angels, our guardian
Yeah.
spirits come in and help, to at least offer some sort of comfort eventually.
Yeah,
because they're a little snappier. You're 4 years old. What the hell? Don't waste any time showing up here. If you're watching.
What could my mental state have been if nothing like that had ever shown up?
Exactly.
It's
yeah.
And I think to this day is why I still don't sleep, because I'll wake up between 1:30 and 2:30 every morning, and I'm wide awake, and I will watch TikTok and stupid crap on YouTube on my phone until about 4 or so, and then I'll fall back asleep for an hour or so. But every single night. I mean, it's like clockwork.
Maybe it's also because they don't make big beds large enough for you. Because for those that don't know, I can tell from our video, you are a very tall man, and you are not fat, and you're definitely
not at all
stupid, but you are a tall man.
You're very fit,
and
tall,
maybe a descendant of the Nephilim, And
Yeah, we're
It's-
goofing on him at Pickens. If nobody knows, we met him at Pickens and
South Carolina at the
and
haunting of the Mill Paracon.
Brandon Cooper, yes. And yes, I had to look up, and we're tall people. I'm like, well, not that tall, but I'm 5'8".
We're not short.
And I had to look up at Rex, and I'm like, yes, Rex. And
Well,
we were
like,
talking
hey,
to him
Rex.
for a while, you know.
What's going on, buddy?
You're what 6'7", I believe.
7, and 3 pounds. Yeah.
Well, I think that thunderstorm's
I heard- Wicked mean. You're getting stuck. I'm sorry, Rex. It's probably your weather. He's having a really bad thunderstorm where he is right now, and you could hear it in the background while he was talking. It was very mean. I could
before
hear
the
it.
show. Yes,
Yeah, during.
we'll give that Rex a minute to
Yeah.
come back on with the.
Oh, I'm still going on.
Oh, that's creepy, Philip.
So yeah, Rex is a tall man, and I'm just joking
Yeah.
about the
Oh, yeah,
bed. Of course,
sure.
they make beds for tall people, but
Yeah.
great guy, and I'm sure he'll be
Okay.
back with us momentarily.
He's so sweet.
And
Yeah.
actually, I want to show you his book. Well,
Yes.
wait for his internet to kind of kick back in here. This is wonderful. The Unexplainable Art in black and white, and consists of black and white drawings. As you can see, they are fantastic inside, and I'm going to show you
He's
some
a really
of these
good artist.
that are not in the book as well.
I was just gonna ask him to.
So you can see that, and he was kind enough to gift us an original.
Which I thought was awesome, and I would like for him to
Show this.
yeah,
Yeah.
to explain this to us because
This is a awesome looking tree that he drew, and there's so many details in this. I don't know if the camera even captures really all the detail that is in it, but we were very jazzed to have this, and I'm going to
Yes.
put that in a frame.
Rex. You might need to drop and come back. Can hear it as well.
Okay, yeah, I think he just dropped. Good. He can hear us probably, and we can't hear him
Yes.
too good, but he'll be right back with us, I am sure. What do you guys think? You like that artwork? And what about these childhood experiences, these interdimensional beings, these shadow people, these hat men, whatever
Listen,
we want to call them, these aliens, the Bigfoot looking in the window, creeping the kids out.
Yeah, most of the people hear about what happened with my shadow person freak out on what was it? Oh God, what night was it? It was New Year's night. That's right, New Year's Eve. I had Chris is asking me all kinds of questions. I'm like, oh my God, please. And I'm like, before we popped the champagne at 12, I was like, please go get me a glass at 11:30 where we're still on.
Yeah,
So I was like, I think
Kristen
I
has
really
a hard
need
time
to have
even
a
talking
drink.
about it sometimes.
This is why I didn't go into the paranormal. Thank you.
Let me show you the cover of Rex's book. And you can get this book on Amazon.com. Just look up Rex Nielson, pop right up. Unexplainable Art in black and white. Fantastic. And let's see what we got here for questions. I don't have my glasses on, so I'll do my best.
Mine work for you?
It's all right.
All right,
Let's
hold on.
see. There could be competition between them. The one that gets the kids to do the most evil acts wins. Well, that's interesting.
That's why I was like, no.
Maybe. And I know you mentioned feeding on the fear.
Ian
and,
said that too.
I think that is legit. And it is like the modern day vampire. And maybe that is where vampire legends stem from. Is the dead and dreams of them and things that happen within those hypnagogic, hypnopompic states. Anne-Marie says they feed from fear, which is better. Which better than young children? I remember watching shadows come in and out of mirrors, and Anne doesn't keep one in her room for that reason.
She doesn't keep them anywhere in her house for that reason.
Yeah. A lot of people, including a former neighbor of mine, will put mirrors facing outside in their windows
To keep the evil out.
to repel the evil, the evil eye, even right. And how do we get rid of the evil eye, guys?
To you.
It's horns up, but if you want to get rid of the evil eye, go down. That's what the strega do.
Strega. It's Italian witchcraft.
And it says this poor guy banged his head in the tent at the mill. Terrible wind. Yeah, I know, right?
The poor guy.
We did have a windy day, in Pickens, which was not great for the tents. Kim says, where can I buy the book? Amazon. Amazon.com has it, and Rex may have some other places to get a copy, maybe directly from him, which would be even better source. We'll ask him when he rejoins. Any tats?
He has a lot of tattoos that we saw. He was covered, so he was wearing clothes when we saw him. But you can tell he has a lot of tattoos everywhere.
We assumed, I think most people assumed he wasn't naked.
We're goofing around. Jeez.
And we have tats too.
I have one.
And like that. So let's see. We
And you can't
hear more about shadow people with hats. I've seen them myself. Okay, so Hatman phenomena. Maybe you want to guide a little direction in that. Heidi is the person to really
Heidi
talk
Hollis.
to. We do have an interview with Heidi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to get her back on the show.
She will. She's really busy, but she does TV shows and she does her own shows and things. But she's a great person.
She knows the history of the Hatman.
And I am in. If you friend her, she'll send you into a group chat called
Shadow People.
and
something.
Hatman or something like that.
Yeah, you'll know what it is.
Yeah, we're all in it. There's a bunch of us in it, and yeah.
I think Rex is back, so let me bring him
awesome.
on. Hey, buddy.
Better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That's a lot better. It's a lot better.
We have questions for you too.
Good.
No worries. No worries. What were your questions there?
So what did I miss?
What?
Somebody wanted to know where to buy his book.
Oh, where to buy the book.
Oh,
I couldn't remember. Now, I know you're on Amazon, but is there a better way to get it?
Don't buy it on Amazon
That's
because
what a lot of people say.
After my publisher takes her cut and Amazon takes their cut, I get $2 a book.
Yes.
And I have not received any money from Amazon yet because you have to sell so much before I receive anything. So if you want to, my email address, all you have to do, and I'll give it to you. I'll spell it because I'll tell you the meaning behind it here in a second. It's REDDYMIX 65 ReadyMix65 My aunt called me Ready Mix for years. So
it's READY.
No, REDD.
Yep. REDDY.
Yep.
MIX. The number 65.
At Gmail.
Yep.
I'm going to throw that in our ticker so that people have that.
They just have to email me. I will give them either my PayPal or my Cash App. And it's $15 for the book. I'll personalize it, and it covers everything. The shipping and handling. Just make sure you get me your address, and as soon as you get in touch with me, I will mail it out ASAP.
It is awesome. And it's a large book. I was showing the audience while you're away. This is not a small book of tiny pictures. You're able to see these. And if you wanted to, say, turn this to flash and get a tattoo of this nun, and we noticed there's a few nuns in here.
Yeah, that one's.
Speaking of nuns,
they don't bother me, but there's a lot of them. Like
there's a few
blue
nuns,
nun.
and that's interesting. Very cool. I mean, they would make excellent flash for tattoos, no question. And I'm sure your local tattoo artist could copy out of this book.
That's the first thing I thought of because I like eyes.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome pictures. I don't want to show them all. You got to buy the book, but yeah, you can use this book as well.
Yeah. The only thing is that you'll have to get my permission in order to use it because everything is copyrighted now.
As a tattoo?
Everything was. I had so much stuff stolen from me.
Oh wow!
I had
you
a
want
couple
artists to keep it and put it on their wall.
Yeah, they can, as long as they put it on them and destroy, the transfer. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I'm sorry, I should have thought of that. I didn't.
No, that's quite right.
Person having the tattoo, not a big deal. But if the tattoo place then he says, "Oh yeah, give me that book," and then it's a wall.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be the most cool thing to do.
Because it's cool now that everything is copyrighted, and everything that I put out from now on will be copyrighted. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, I quit drawing over 30 years ago, and my kids didn't know I could draw, and they're 27 and 30.
Oh, wow.
And they had no idea. I kind of just lost faith in my ability to do it, so I just quit. And then about 2016, I hate to say this, so cliche, had an epiphany. It just hit me going, you need to start drawing again. And I did. I dove right back into it head first, and then I went through all the different mediums of what I wanted to do. And the progression from 2016 to 2023 is, like I tell everybody, it's preschool to Da Vinci on how I've gone. I wouldn't show you anything from 2016 right now. I have a bunch of it, but as far as me showing it,
right,
I wouldn't do it.
You got to get your chops back. It's like anything, any kind of art that you do, if it's music, and the reason I don't play music as much as I did is because I was somewhat a professional musician, at least semi-professional. I work most nights of the week, at least in the summer.
Babe,
right?
you're professional.
And I don't play like that now, and it's a whole different thing because I don't play like I used to. You know what I mean? It takes you a while to get those chops back.
It does.
Take a break from it. And actually, your work and Marilyn Bass' work have been kind of inspiring to me. I've been talking about watercolors and trying some things, and it would be very different than what both of you do. But I couldn't get back because I gotta have creative outlets. We love creativity, and having that kind of outlet in your life is really important, I think. Because
I get to draw every single day, and I mean, I just did 2 books for Letriana Brown. One is out now with I drew the cover and the illustrations in it. It's a children's book, Tales of the Night and Tales of the Dark. It just got published. Go to because I haven't seen the book. I really want to see how well what I did transferred into the book that she did, and I drew illustrations of the stories that she told in the book. And I did one before that, and it'll be coming out later. It's about the Cherokee Indians, myth and legends, and Legend of the Little People. And that's the first book I did for her. And I can't wait. The cover I did for it, I'm not going to say anything because I really want to see what people's reactions are when they see it, because she was just blown away once she'd seen it. And actually, I'm working on a cover for a book that she's doing with Blaine, her co-host on her show on Psychic Kids.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah,
I just got a message from her going, have you gotten it done yet? And I'm like, no, I just started working on it. So
hold on, I'm getting there. May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Just what is your inspiration? Do you have an inspiration? Some people have muses. I have talked about this a lot on our show. What gets you inspired all of a sudden to start doing your drawings?
It's, that's the reason I call it unexplainable art, because I really don't have an explanation for how something comes up. I mean, when somebody, like, say you asked me to do a picture, if I could do a certain picture, I would know right away exactly what I'm going to draw for you. I couldn't tell you, but I could do it. But right now, it's just looking at something that I'd actually seen a makeup commercial on TV. And I went from there to it was a mascara commercial, and I just ended up running it, and I thought, well, I'll have the beautiful blue in her eyes run down with it as well.
It's gorgeous.
And that's how that one came about.
It really pops, the 2 colors, right? Very cool.
And it's
I'm just going to throw up a few pictures while we're talking about the art.
What about ours?
Sure.
I want to see ours. Where's ours? Right here. Just real quick.
Okay.
Well, we have it hanging up on our shelf. So, yes. What inspired you to do this?
I love drawing trees. I really do. And then I have all this busy work, but Zentangle or whatever, that I love doing into my pictures.
Mhm.
And I just started drawing it one day, and really didn't mean anything. I started drawing out as a tree, and then I thought, I'm going to just put as much different as I can in there that, of course, something you don't see in a tree, but it's something yet that I would see in a tree.
Yeah, it's very cool. It reminds me of something from Yellow Submarine, but much more detailed. If you remember the animated Beatles cartoon we probably both grew up with, I'm assuming.
And I actually just did that one last week.
Yes.
It's super cool, and we thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much.
welcome.
I think of fairies, and I think of grounding when I see this.
Yeah.
Thank
See,
you.
and that's what I love about it, because I used to. This one will be in my new book, and I'll let everybody know this is like the world premiere. My new book should be coming out in July, and I'm calling it Passing of Colors, because the whole book is going to be it's going to be skulls, but they're beautiful. I mean, I think I sent you some of the other human skulls that I've done with flowers and such. And because of Brandon, I decided to do like a bull's head, and that's all by hand. I do not use a ruler when I do the crosshatch work. And I love that was the first actual animal skull that I'd ever done. And it just got to the point I had done these, and everybody goes, "Why do you do skulls all the time?" And I said, "Well, I don't make them look evil or dark. I never have." But my simple answer is everybody has one.
Yeah,
everybody has a skull, and I get from it, I just tell people, beauty is only skin deep.
Dust and bones, that's what we end up as. No matter how you cut it. I zoomed in on the picture because that, like the tree picture that Kristen was showing, it's hard to get the detail.
Yes.
There's little patterns and things in there.
Like he was saying, Zen. That one looked like a piano.
They're really cool. That stuff is in there. And I'll show a few more.
That's why I asked the question, where do you get your inspiration from?
It's, I guess, just everything around me. Thank you, Kimberly.
Oh God, she's so funny. We love our Kimberly. That's why I went like this. We have sign language when they come on. It's like the horns. Yes, that's.
I don't know if you guys seen the video that they did of the stuff that I sent them. They did a whole video and posted it.
I did see some of that on your page, and I had missed it because we're on and off social media. Like, we can get a little hermitish. And
yes,
it looked really cool. I saw Scott had posted some stuff.
I kid you not, I cried.
Really cool.
I mean, I was just absolutely moved, and to all the amazing people like you guys and the Horns and everybody that I met in South Carolina. I mean, I've become so close to, and it's
yes.
I can't even put it into words. It's just amazing. It's
so
amazing.
Marilyn and I are having a fun conversation with this, because now I'm not kicking my ass or licking my ass. Now we have ho from Kim. That's going to have to be our next.
Can you elaborate on that a little?
Never mind.
Did I see that one that somebody asked how many? Yes, I am the biggest, not in stature, but everything, the biggest Queen and Freddie Mercury fan you will ever find. And what I did is I had found this paper with see-through that had the notes on it. And so I just did a simple picture of Freddie at Wembley Stadium. And then I put the transparent lyrics over the top of it, or the notes over the top of it. And unfortunately, I can't put that out and into anything, even though it's my interpretation, it's copyright infringement.
Yeah, well, it is pretty awesome. And then I noticed you like Queen because you had another one in here, and I'll see if I can find that as well. It was really cool of the band.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Let's see if I can bring that up. I got to deal with the trials and tribulations of StreamYard, so bear with me. It would be nice if I could line them all up to go one to another, but I haven't figured that part out yet. It's probably That's settings. That's the wrong thing, Chris.
Thank you, Becky.
Mm-hmm.
Although Brandon's your favorite. I had to stick that in there.
Well, like Anne-Marie Young said, love our soul family, because all of us are like a soul family.
Yes, absolutely. This one, and I still have it.
Yeah.
I put a lot of work into it, and this was a later version of before Freddie passed.
Oh, wow.
Because this is a redo of the original Bohemian Rhapsody, the video. And I'd seen this, and I decided that I was going to draw it. And then I made the mat that went around it, and I decorated the frame as well. I highlighted some of the frame. I still have it. I've taken to a few shows, and
it's so cool. There's some Andy
but
Warhol influence in this that is really neat with the colors and the kind of, I don't know, just maybe the straight lines and stuff where there would be a curve, and it's very cool. It's very cool, very artistic.
Thank you.
Love it, my friend.
And somebody asked how many tattoos I have.
Yes,
I believe.
Philip Wyatt did.
18, I believe. I believe. They won't let me count the ones on my knuckle is each one, so that's one.
Who's they? What do you
mean? When we count it, especially me and the boys, because they'll go, no, you can't count each finger as one because that's not right. And I'm going, okay, fine. So that means that my oldest has got me beat. He's got more than me because they won't let me count each finger as a tattoo. So
that's great.
And I mean, each one of the boys and I have the same tattoo, the Clada, and it says family, Nielson, and love.
That's awesome.
Each one of us have it just in different spots. We've all Christopher actually is the one that drew it up, my oldest son. I mean, my first one was here, the cross, the Chesterfield cross. And I remember going with my sister and I had it done. And we got home. I was 33 years old. My dad jumped my shit. But my sister, he thought it was cooler than ever. But he couldn't turn out he jumped my crap because I had gotten a tattoo. And it went from there. And then I went and got my second one. And it's just went on from there. And I've designed every one that I have. I mean, there's Freddie Mercury's here, the Great Pretender.
Oh, yeah.
My Queen one is here.
Nice.
That I designed.
I'm going to do a Black Sabbath one at some point.
There you go.
I've
got a great big one on my calf that because I started out in corrections and it says corrections never walk alone, and it's got my badge number and it's got two skulls and a huge cross in the middle of it, and I fell asleep when I was getting that tattoo. I fell asleep when he was doing this one too. So
good one.
This was all in one sitting too.
Wow. Oh, that's a lot in one sitting. I got one on my chest over here. I don't think you can see it on the cam, but it's not finished yet. It's a dragon that kind of goes over the shoulder and the whole thing to my chest. And that took forever, man. Going over the collarbone was not fun. I was definitely not sleeping when we did that.
And I miss it because the last one I got was this one, and I had drawn a tattoo for a person, and I took him to the tattoo artist, and so he was getting the tattoo put on his arm, and the tattoo artist goes, "Hey, nice drawing. Who did it?" And he goes, "The big guy sitting over there." He looks at me, he goes, "Are you any good?" And I said, "Well, I guess that's up to you to decide." So I got my phone out and was showing him, and he goes, "Oh my God, I love that picture." And I said, "I will give you that picture if you tattoo the back of my hand." So, wow. And this is the Celtic symbol for family.
Ah, that's
Oh,
And
yeah.
the what do you call that? Try something, right? The part the Led Zeppelin used. Try. Oh, I can't. I'm lost for words.
yeah,
Great internet radio host. Can't remember the words, but there's a name for it. It starts with try, with a heart. That's very cool.
and I had them while I was working, and after I tattooed my fingers, they are very addictive, hun. I really am jonesing to get another one. I'm not lying.
You get one, you got to get another.
And but I remember after I got my fingers tattooed, my sheriff come up to me and he was really upset about it. And I said, well, everything I have on me isn't offensive. It says God's will across my knuckles. And I mean, I've got, Romans 5:8 here. I've got Corinthians, the verses of love. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous. On this arm, and nothing I have on there is offensive, and he just didn't like it, and so he was going to put in the SOP that you couldn't have tattoos that show. And I said, well, that's fine. Everybody here has tattoos. Mine's the only one that shows. And I said, it's thank you very much, Kimberly. Yes, because it says at the bottom, love never fails. I said, go ahead. I said, I'm grandfathered in. I can still go out and get tattoos, even though you put it in the SOP. It ain't going to make any difference to me. You're just going to make everybody else mad. And actually, over the years of me being tattooed like I was, helped with the job. And like I said, nothing was offensive.
Of course not.
No. I could have put F off across my knuckles,
Yeah.
But I would never do such a thing.
I mean, tattoos are a personal thing.
Very.
There's a cool picture right
there. Yeah,
that
one, that is all complete dots. That entire picture is.
Oh, we were talking about that with a different picture a little earlier.
Yeah.
And what is with that? So it's interesting art style. Let's talk about that a little bit. You create some out of dots. So you're using, I'm guessing, like a very good type pen, maybe like I can't think of the brand. Is it Uno? I know there's a couple really good. Uni makes some good pens. What kind of materials do you use for your art?
That's what I use. That Copic and Uni, because you have to use one that are archival, that it won't fade over time. Because I put a lot of work. There's hours and hours and hours spent doing this, and to get to where it looks black, I just have to keep going over it and over it and over it with just putting dots on it. And I use very small tip pens. I use a 0.005 and a 0.003. I mean, they're smaller than the head of a pin. And that's how I do all these drawings.
Oh, that is so cool. And I'm zoomed in, zooming out. So when you're looking at it like this, you can't even tell that it's made up or comprised of so many dots in it. At that point, it's a bit like pixels, right? And computer.
Yes, it's called pointillism. Pointillism. That's what it was when I was growing up. I mean, that's what it was in college. Now they call it, oh, shoot. And I don't call it that. Stippling. And I look at them and go, you're 35 years younger than me. You can call it stippling. When I first started doing it, it was called pointillism, and I'm still going to call it pointillism. So, but they call it stippling now. But
I think it's a super interesting approach to what you're doing.
I can get so much more detail, especially in the shadowing of it. I mean,
yes.
And this is something I just picked up, started doing almost on every single picture I do now about 6 months ago. But I got to the point where it's very relaxing for me to do it. And each picture keeps improving on my ability to do the pointillism. And it just shows a lot more detail, and because I don't do digital art. I mean, I've got the stuff to do it, but I'm going to offend somebody, I'm sure, and I'm sorry. I think it's cheating. I put pen to paper or pencil to paper. Everything I do, I mean, if I do it digitally and I screw it up, I can fix it like that.
Fix it in a second.
This, either I stop doing it and put it away for a couple months and come back to it, and hopefully I don't ruin it, or I keep going on it and I ruin it and I throw it away.
That direction, I mean, I'm sure there's the same level of creativity and it just goes into another place. But you're absolutely right. If you have a drawing tablet and that kind of thing, I mean, you can just fix your mistakes as you go. And it's exactly without the mistake, it is no eraser mark. There's nothing there, where this is a little bit more hands-on. And it's kind of like where you get into the argument between like electronic music versus, more analog music, or having a drum, having your hands on the thing. Right. I mean, I tend to side with you, but I think both are legitimate art forms.
Yeah. And sure. I mean, if I wanted to do it, I could. I have everything to do it. My sister bought me, the stuff to do it. I just don't get the same heart and feel and soul into it as I do putting, pen to paper. And I think it's more personal to me. And I think it means a lot more to people when I do it that way as well.
Bob has a good question for you there.
Yes, I have.
Have you put subliminal messages in your art? Saying you have, and how do you do that? Sort of like, what are you don't have to exactly give us an example, but what do you do?
It's funny because when everybody sees what I do, a lot of times they see a lot of different things in it, which is awesome. Because when I do shows or anything, my goal is to have somebody come back and look more than once at my work. If they come back more than once, then I know I've set out to do what I want to do. Subliminally, I just put things in there that you'll stop and you'll go, and I've had people go, oh, but I never tell anybody. And that's why I don't give my pictures a title, because people who buy them or I make them for them, if they can name them because it's theirs, and not everybody sees the same thing in the pictures that I do. And that's why I do it. So they get it and they'll go, they can name it. It's like getting their pet. They're going to name their pet, they can name that piece of art that they bought from me. Instead of me giving it a name or a title, they can, put whatever they want to it. Makes it even more personal. That's how I look at it.
I like that. That's great.
That makes a lot of sense. And naming a pet is an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
Like your cat, you've been calling Fluffy for
cat
10 years. Really says,
baby kitty.
I don't know why they call me Baby Cat. I am Silo 13.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Enard Farquhar, and he still calls me Baby Kitty. I don't know.
What's with people?
I'm surprised, as I said, Baby Kitty isn't running in here screaming his head off right now.
Earlier during the thunderstorm, but now thunderstorm's over, because God, I could hear that. I don't like it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's finally over.
Howie, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I like that you don't title them. Art is often the means of experience. It's not the same. Should be forced upon. Exactly. That's why it's unexplainable art. I mean, I will tell everybody one thing. I do a picture once and I'm done. I'm not going to be that artist that keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. I won't do it. I just don't want that. I want something new, one of a kind. And whoever gets something from me that's original, that's one of a kind. I'm never going to draw it again. Yep, exactly.
We are honored. And I was surprised and delighted when that arrived. So thank you again so much.
Thank you again.
You're very welcome.
detail.
You're very welcome. Thanks for
There's more.
believing in me and believing in my art. I mean,
Oh my!
Can't zoom, but
I know
that will get framed.
Yes.
those are all 9x12. That's what usually the size that I work with. 99%.
It's
That is
exactly a heavy stock of paper too.
true.
It's watercolor paper. That's the only thing. If I don't do it on a canvas panel, I do everything on heavyweight, either cold pressed or hot pressed watercolor paper.
I just bought some cold pressed paper because, as I was saying, you guys are inspiring me, and I want to try to do some things. There's some things that I've seen in meditative states that I really want to get out, and it's truly, ghost stories from the ghost point of view that I'm trying to get across, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, because I've been, since Lee Triana and my publisher Vicky come up to me. It was funny. My book come about like that. I mean, I just finished up the illustrations for Lee Triana's book. Brain synapses, very cool. That's awesome.
Yes.
I like that, Cheryl Ann.
It means something different to different
everybody, and that's what I want to come across.
To be individuality and give it a name themselves. Exactly.
Here he comes. I told you. Come here.
Yeah.
So, if somebody wants to call it Fart in the Wind, great. I think that's an awesome title. I'll give it 2 thumbs up. All right, here. So the whole world can see again, okay?
I do the same thing in my restaurant. Yeah, true art, Howard. True art. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Now go away.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll swing back to the paranormal now. So you've been a paranormal investigator.
I'm sorry. I get
a long time. No, that's okay. I wanted to spend time on your art because you're passionate about this, and we want to get that across because it is a creativity and connection with the paranormal. I think is a bigger tie-in than a lot of people talk about.
I will be putting out a book of paranormal drawings that stuff that I've seen and encountered after all the years of doing this. And of course, I'll probably redo the good ones and the bad ones. I'll update them. Those will go in a book. But I've got, 3 or 4 books already working on that are just mine. And Lee Triana actually wants to do my story. My paranormal, like you guys put it, unexplainable art, paranormal journey or whatever.
Absolutely.
And because on the back of that book, I did not write that bio, okay? Lee Triana did. And she goes, well, send me something. So it was like less than a paragraph. And she goes, oh, I'll spice it up a bit. And then she sends me that, and I'm going, you really think that of me? I said, so I tell everybody, I didn't write that. That's somebody else's, how they see me. I don't see myself as that way, but.
All right. Well, she is cool as heck. I love talking to her.
I love her to death. I talk to her probably every day.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We should have brought her on for this, actually. Let me see. Now we're gonna swing. We might do that in the future. That would be pretty fun, I suspect.
Sure.
Let me share something here, and this is a photograph, and we need some explanation on this one because I found this really creepy. Let's see how
is this the shadow? No.
Okay. I think this was the first or second year that AOP was together, All Out Paranormal, and around where I live is we've got all these graveyards. And this graveyard that's about a quarter of a mile away from me is huge. It has a Civil War cemetery. It has a Vietnam cemetery in it. It has a Korean War cemetery in it. It has a World War I and World War II cemetery in it. It has an infant cemetery in it. It's probably 6 football fields put together, at least. And we went down, and that's all we did one summer was did nothing but cemeteries. And I'm the only one taking the picture. There's nobody in front of me, and I didn't hold the camera behind me, and I don't wear a skirt. Only on Friday nights because I have 2 shows that I have to do, and I do have to make a living.
Exactly. This was kind of my question to you. Like, is that shadow you? Are you wearing like a trench coat? Like, what's going on?
No, this was the middle of the summer. I was in shorts but you see one arm is in the air, the other one is holding something, but it's dark enough that it actually blocks out the headstones.
Yeah, and there's a double imprint, right? Of the headstone kind of in the center. You see it twice. You see it the second time kind of faded with a shadow on it. Mm-hmm. And I have seen, and fortunate enough to have taken a couple of pictures like this where things are really going awry. Okay. And, this is not a light anomaly here.
No.
What you're seeing is something that affected the camera and put its imprint upon it. All right. And the first thing you see is that orb, but there's this big shadow behind it. So that is not you. You're confirming that. That is not you.
I was the only one standing there, and I'm taking the picture. This was actually I'm walking down towards the Civil War cemetery, the section of it. And this is the trail leading down to it. And so I just started snapping pictures as I walked down towards it. And this was the very first picture I took that night.
Creepy as.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna say it. Fuck. That's creepy as fuck.
Yeah. That's about what I said when we got back and was looking and went, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So being that here's the thing. I am like totally like just not loving this right now. And being who you are as well, growing up with shadow people, what did go through your mind at that point? Like first you have to debunk it, and then it was like, God, it's a shadow.
Right.
What did you think?
I was thrilled. I mean, my experience of what I had with it, I guess made me more fearless at going out and doing what I'm doing. I don't let it bother me. I don't show fear. I'm not going to lie to you. When I first started, I was scared shitless. I ain't going to lie. Because we go, well, you go to that room alone. You go, no, I'm not. We'll stay together for now, okay? Dad says so.
We came as a group.
We go in as a group.
Yeah, if we come as a group, we're dying as a group, okay? So we're all going in together. I don't care.
I love it.
And I told him, I said, if you run away screaming like a little girl, you have to pay your dad $500. So
oh my God.
But
serious.
Now, I mean, when I go to a location, I mean, I hate to do such a cliche thing, but I feel like Freddie Mercury stepping out in front of, 150,000 people. I'm just like, ugh! I can't wait to go in there and see what happens and see what comes across and what I'm going to get to experience.
That's energy too, right? So you're going in there pumped, and we get that. I think it is good to kind of psych yourself out sometimes and go into a place and just because you're exuding energy from yourself.
Right.
There's stuff coming off of you that they can use to hopefully get some sort of photograph like this. Now, did you see any of this in real time, or was this just like later you did the data review? Like, holy shit.
This was data review. I mean, it was as soon as we were done there, we come straight back to my place because it was within walking distance. And I mean, I throw the ScanDisk card in and bam, that was the very first picture I had taken.
It does look like a cloak.
It does.
Yeah, it looks like a cloak. And it does. And it looks a more than a little spooky if it doesn't belong there. Do you think it could have any tie-in back to your childhood in the Hat Man?
Could be. I mean, when I seen it, I wasn't afraid in any way, shape, or form. What kind of come across to me, because I was so close to the Civil War part of it, is it a Civil War soldier that's got his long trench coat on, that's in front of me? Because it looks like on the sides there, it does look like there's a belt or something hanging off the one side underneath the orb, and a little bit on the other side.
Mr. Greg Costa's uniform of the blue had longer uniforms.
True. Yes. Thank you, Greg.
He's well informed with that, and is a bit of a historian on wars, especially the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Greg, for that comment. So yeah, very cool. Let me see what else we got here. We've got a few really interesting stuff, but that is one that just kind of blew me away. I'm like, Rex, that's got to be you, man. Tell me that shit. Nope, not you.
Yeah.
Sorry to disappoint you. It wasn't me.
Oh no, it just makes it all more. I don't want to say spooky because it's sad in a way. If we're talking about soldiers, we're talking about a tragedy and maybe stuck souls or something that can go into the realm of heartbreaking.
Yes.
Anytime you get data like that where it's so pronounced, it's very shocking, right, to the system. Like,
yes,
it doesn't make any sense at all.
Exactly.
And it is scary, and it's scary in that moment, just because it's so like the physics thing, like we like to say, goes out the window. Like,
Physics right out the
doesn't make
window,
sense.
and yeah,
into the logical brain.
exactly.
Have you ever done any remote viewing?
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Yeah. My wife is much more intuitive to it than I am. Because if I go somewhere and she's not able to go, she will tell me to beware of certain areas. Like when I went to Colorado, I was asked by the people who own the St. Cloud Hotel. They actually flew me out there. I spent a week out there. It's on the National Historic Registry. It's in Canyon City, Colorado. And I'm the only person that's ever been allowed in there. And I went in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and come out 7 o'clock the next morning in that hotel by myself all night. And she told me up on the third floor that there was a murder out of passion. A female had been murdered up there. I got up to the third floor and I could smell roses. And I had cameras and recorders on every floor. And I actually caught a picture of a female laying in the fetal position on the third floor in the middle of the hallway.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Wow.
She's my guardian angel. If I go somewhere by myself, she'll alert me to certain things that I should or should not do.
That's very cool. That's interesting. The remote view for sure. Let me bring this one up. And I'm not sure
yes,
what's going on
this
here. So I need you to explain this.
This is going to blow everybody's mind. Notice the date, 9/11/2011.
Yes.
Okay. This is us just starting out. All we had was a Sony digital recorder, which I still have, and I had a little Kodak digital camera. Nothing special, no IR, no nothing. This is in my basement of my parents' house. We took the picture and no flash went off. This is what comes back. This picture should be absolutely blank. You can see the face. You can see the hand. And you see as it rises up, there's another face that's up there. What's to the right of the face? I don't know. But we had it professionally looked at. We were at a Paracon, and we were asked if they could take the photo and have it digitally enhanced and looked at it and everything else. And like I said, this is our very first thing that we ever caught. And it got sent back to us. I have the paperwork saying that that's authentic. There's no way that we could have faked it. That picture should be absolutely blank because the flash did not go off, and the basement is completely dark. And that is the very first piece of evidence or photo evidence that we ever got.
That's so interesting. There is clearly a face, almost like a cat man, I want to say.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you can see my mouse, probably not, but let's see right here.
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Yeah, right there, like the way the lips come down and nose. Very strange. And then you've got this kind of like
That's
detailed
Sam,
face
what-
here. And then
Yeah,
what is that? And things coming off of it.
I mean, that was a huge oh shit moment when we get this. I mean, and that same night we end up getting our first full sentence EVP in the basement where it says don't touch the evidence.
Oh,
Wow.
My parents' house at the time had been used in the Underground Railroad. It had been a parsonage at one time. It had been a funeral home. I mean, there was a lot of history to it.
Now,
And
this is a different house than where you had the shadow
growing up
apparitions
when he
in
yes,
growing up. Okay, just making sure because it sounds like a house that would have.
No, it's completely different.
Array and shadow family. The you're moving
Shadow
in with.
family. Why would you call it that? I freak out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a funeral home. Well, we've heard that story before. Yeah, there are dead people around for sure.
Everywhere.
Well, that's very interesting. Let me bring up a few more. I know we've got a video as well. Maybe we'll go over to that. That's super interesting and cool looking. Let me play this. Watch closely for the mist and shadow in this.
What who? Manor. And my wife and I were the only ones there.
We were on mute while that plays.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm just going to rewind you a little bit, and maybe you can explain that, and we can play it again. But go ahead and explain the video. Sorry, I should have set you up a little bit.
That's okay. It's at Melbourne Manor, and Josh Hurd is one of the owners, which is funny. He's scared to death of the paranormal, but yet he owns a haunted place, which is I think is
awesome. Hilarious.
And Joy and I were the only ones there, and there's a common area there where there's couches and there's recliners and stuff where, at the end of your investigation, you can go to sleep and you can rest. Well, I had cameras set up everywhere and they're motion and sound activated. And that's when you see it track all of a sudden. And that's 30 seconds of it tracking that shadow figure. And the same night, her shoes got untied. And her necklace had been messed with. Okay. And every time I go there, I get the same.
The laces being pulled and they were untied. That kind of thing.
No, they were off.
Good Lord!
Wow. Yeah, off the shoe.
No, off. They'd taken them off her feet. They'd come off.
Wow.
All and right. I didn't sleep. I had been sitting there the whole time because I had my tablet and I could go from camera to camera to see what was going on. And it's funny because across from that hall where I caught the shadow figure, all of a sudden the camera flips itself and it records upside down for the rest of the night.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm serious.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez,
wow, that's a lot of activity. What's the name of that?
And what was the place?
Melbourne Manor.
Melbourne or Melbourne?
Burn. Burn. As in Victor.
Okay.
And where is that located?
Melbourne, Iowa.
Iowa.
Thank you.
All right. And you're from Iowa, right?
Yes, I am. Born and raised. That's why I'm as big as I am.
A lot of country out there. It's a big state.
Wait, I was going to say corn-fed, but that's down south.
Meat and potatoes. We have the best beef and pork in the world here in the Midwest. And, don't tell me you're a vegan or anything because you're a fool. You're missing out, man. You are missing out.
Right on. Let me play that one more time. So people, sure. I know a lot of folks out there watching us on their phones and You got to look close here when you'll see.
Just watch the
shadows
door
forming,
jam.
moving, and
Yes.
yeah, kind of moving out of the room. See right there, you can see a little bit over the door jamb, as Rex mentioned. You're gonna see more toward the end. So keep your eye. Yep, it goes low, gets big. Slow. I heard an EVP or something there too. Like
that was me. I didn't know what was going on, and I was just messing around. I think it was on my phone, and I said, "Oh, Gunny Goo Goo" or something like that. I was watching something stupid on YouTube, and I had earphones in. So
Jackson's crab cat.
I forgot it. Crab cat.
That goes to Wi-Fi
files.
I think Jack knows we love that show.
Yes,
we do.
Love the Wi-Fi.
They do. They do
I
a great job
that. Sorry, Jack.
out there. Not that they need our plug, but we love them. Yeah. See, Bill Metz out there. Hey.
Hey,
Hey, remember Bill?
My page is breaking down.
With the wonderful Lynn Monet. At,
yes. Oh goodness. Yes.
Haunting.
I love her.
Yes.
Lynn's awesome.
She is.
She certainly is, and Bill is quite the host himself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
we had a little fun. We did a little tailgating down there
because he couldn't wait to meet us. He couldn't wait to meet Chris. So yeah,
I couldn't wait to meet him. So,
that's right.
There you go.
That's right.
And I will be at the Paracon next year. I will be back.
Heck yeah!
Hell yeah!
Heck
I'm gonna say hell yeah.
So I could be on the paranormal panel and watch all those people out there going, "Who the hell is the big bald guy sitting in the middle of all these people that we know?" Because nobody had a clue who the hell I was, and you could see the expression on people's faces. Are like, "Who? What the hell is that? Who is it?" It was just, I loved it. It was just,
it was
so
the first
surreal.
on Paracon, so I think a lot of things were just, people were getting used to what was going on. I don't think anybody knew who the heck we were. But all good. Let me see here. I'm trying to bring something up.
Becky Evans said, "Yay that you're going," because Becky lives. Poor Becky. We have a mattress. So we say we had a tent for her. Forgot to set it up like 4 times.
There we go. Here's another picture. Let me bring this up. StreamYard wasn't playing nice with one of them. I've got another one here.
Right.
And
yes,
this so it gets bigger. I'm sorry. Give me 1 moment. There.
That's okay.
Larger. There. Yes.
This is in Illinois, and the place escapes me now, but it's out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I mean, Jason Voorhees lives out where this place is at. Okay, and I mean, you have to take a level B road to get to this damn place, and it's where it's at. It's I know the name of it now, but I'm not going to say it because so many people have gone out there and have done damage out there.
Oh yeah.
But we were doing an investigation at the Old School Saloon, and Barron, that owns the Old School Saloon in Illinois, said, "Hey, have you heard about this house?" And we're all like, "Yeah," because there's a confirmed murder and suicide in this house. It's all documented. He goes, "I'm going to take you to it." So we go out, and of course, it's lit up. There's somebody in it, but you can't get close to it. I mean, the fence is probably a quarter of a mile away from the house. We got up on a train trestle that's there, and we were taking pictures. All of a sudden, here comes this car, and I'm going, damn, I'm going to have to explain myself. I'm sure it's the sheriff's department. So we get down there, and it's actually the owner's nephews that are watching the house while he's in Chicago. So me being me, I said, "Hey, is there any way you get a hold of your uncle and say, hey, here's my card. This is what we do. will they get his permission for us to come up and do a quick, run through? And so he goes, okay, I'll go up and ask him. 25 minutes passes and we're going, yeah, nothing's going to happen. All of a sudden they come down with their dog and said, yeah. He said, sure. So we went up there and we're all outside and we were just up in this room and you can see the shadow figure there. And that shadow, there's a lamp on the table in front of that window, but that shadow figure is blocking that lamp out completely. And I could see it. That's why I took the picture, because we're all outside. And
I have to say, there's something. What is in the other window?
Yes.
The other window is a ceiling fan.
That's a ceiling fan? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that does look like a face to me looking out the window.
No, it's a ceiling fan. What's across the street from this place?
Nothing. No, it's out in the middle. There's absolutely nothing, hun. There's nothing out there. This is it. That's what sits out there. There is nothing else. What was that? It looks like Homer Simpson.
Right, it looks like Homer Simpson on the right. I do see like a face over here on the right hand side.
See the ceiling fan. I have to.
I think maybe we need a before and after with that. But that is very cool, very cool.
And I think Greg asked what was in the tanks
in the
next
aquarium
to me.
next to you, and I really didn't want to ask that. Yeah.
Okay. Over here, I have a chameleon. And that's
so sweet.
Summer. She's up there. Over here, this side is my big guy. This is my bearded dragon. This is Barry.
Oh,
what's up?
I love them.
Here. Should we come out and see everybody? Come on out. There he is. There's Barry.
Hi, Barry. He's a good boy. Oh,
he's
God.
peeling.
Yeah, they shed a lot. The bearded dragon.
He's awesome. He's very docile.
I do.
So that's what is in there.
Linda does too. Hi, Linda Kruger.
That's cool. I like it.
There you go. No, you got to get out of my hand. Let go. There you go.
I like lizards. It's weird. I like lizards, but I hate snakes. I can't
The
take
chameleon is my son's, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. She's a bitch. I mean,
Really?
she'll turn around and looks like Godzilla. She'll turn around and open that mouth. I'm waiting for that to come out one of these days. Now, sometimes you can reach in there and she'll crawl right on you. Because I was doing a show one night, and she was over here on the door and scratching at it. So I opened it up. She crawled out, and I had a boom mic, and she was crawling back and forth across the boom mic during the show.
Wow.
That's interesting. Oh my God.
All right.
They're rescues just like the rest of my animals. We rescued them. The person had way too many lizards, and they were giving them away.
People get a little crazy with the lizards, and they end up. I know, like the snake thing, especially in Florida, is like out of control, right? So now snake has this like huge python community, right? Where they have python police, right? Yeah, because people buy the ball pythons. They're pretty affordable.
Let them go.
And then they can't keep them because they get too big.
Linda, I don't know what kind of chameleon it is. She's really cool. Shane would know. It's his. As soon as he gets his house, Summer will be going. It's his. I had to buy a new misting system for it because the other one went kaput when he was in rehab. So yeah, he gets to take her when he gets his new house.
Excellent. And
because my office / studio in here is so hot, I can't run any air conditioner or anything in here because of the two lizards.
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble sharing the next picture, so bear with me. It's a StreamYard issue, but just what we were talking about before the show.
Yeah.
Where some of the pictures work and some don't. Some for some unknown reason. Bear with me. You guys talking, doing your thing.
Yeah. Here, give you a topic. Talk amongst yourself. It's like
talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right there.
I
Yeah.
said, I was doing comments. So I was scrolling. I'm
all right,
sorry,
here's one.
guys. I
I
was
got
looking at
this.
the lizards. I love them.
Let's see. This just came up.
Yeah.
What are we looking
This
at?
is in a place that's not too far from me. It's called the Coliseum. And the Coliseum was where a lot of big name people back in the day, Johnny Cash played there. Well, the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and Patsy Cline all played there the night before, and they flew out the next day, and that's when they crashed. So the last place they played was here, and we're the only people that have ever got to go through it, and you can see the figure standing in the doorway there looking at us, and that was actually down in the basement. And some of the stuff that the EVPs that we caught were, one of them says, "Shh, I told you to listen, now listen." And the other one that we caught says, "These are the songs that they sang." When we were talking, that I said Johnny Cash and stuff, when we were down in the big ballroom area where they performed, we caught that. It was, but we were the only ones that ever been allowed in there. And then after we did that, the person that owned it, went all religious on us and said that we could never come back because it was all devil's work that we were doing, and yada yada yada, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, and I'm going, well, you're wrong. I'm a man of faith. I've got crosses everywhere on me. I've lived that way my entire life, and nothing I do it is dark or demonic. You put your own spin on it. But
yeah, there's some dissension there, and Christianity in general, right? I mean, that's why they burned witches, because they thought they were talking to the dead, and not destroying demons. Right?
I'm married to a witch. I really am, and I think it's awesome. I think she's an amazing person.
Yeah,
and
there's nothing wrong with it.
That's right. That's
it's a very acceptable attitude in our show.
That we don't. Well, we clash once in a while, but it's not anything
like that.
Not religious. Yeah,
because I really respect. I've learned a lot about Wicca since I've been with her, and getting into the paranormal and doing the paracons and stuff. All the different metaphysical stuff that's out there that I didn't know anything about beforehand. And I've met some incredible people over the years, and actually know what it's all about now, instead of just hearing the crap that other people have spewed, their spin on it. And
it's no secret, really. Well, it is a little bit of a secret to a lot of the paranormal community that the occult community has been up on this stuff for millennia, and they were right, and it's the same stuff we're looking at. And we all, as a human civilization, have this big history of necromancy. It sounds
right.
Right.
And it's
not, but it was really just talking to the dead, talking to an afterlife, knowing that an afterlife actually existed, whether it's like the Egyptians and like the seemingly crazy rituals that they would go through to prepare oneself for an afterlife, right, or Sumerians and even hunter-gatherer tribes. There's a reason why we have like that crazy skull. I don't know if you saw that in Pickens. We have a skull full of magnets and crystals.
Yeah.
We bring that around because we get more interesting data with it than without it.
Right.
It's fascinating. And that's because we think that people would actually remove the heads. We know this is true. Like they used to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
In those times, Sumerians, Babylonians did the same thing. They actually lived above their dead. And they would, whenever they had like an issue in the house, they might say, well, that's Grandpa acting up. And they would dig Grandpa up out of the basement,
his skull,
bring him up, cut his head off, put him on the kitchen table, and talk to Grandpa. And it wasn't really as, I don't know, eccentric or crazy as it sounds today. And it was something they did, and it was part of life.
6,000 years ago, right?
Exactly.
Also, set a place at the table for them as well. They'd have all kinds of
the dumb supper, right? You've heard of that?
Yeah.
Have all kinds of like plates set for all of their their elders, and it was what the of the oldest son, it was his his responsibility to go and
look after care for the
matriarch. Yeah,
it was a very
exactly
close connection to their ancestors is really what they have found from the writings and being able to decode the cuneiforms, which is much better now than say in the 70s
with Budge.
And Zach Citron, right?
Sitchin and Budge.
Saying his name wrong. They've actually gotten it down to a pretty good point. In fact, they're using AI at this point to decode some of those cuneiforms.
Oh boy, here we go.
The results of this is that there was a very close connection to the ancestors, magic in the idea of an afterlife and talking to them, necromancy, whatever you want to call it. And you don't have to put any religious spin on that. It's just simply communicating with the deceased,
right?
A big part of their lives. And I think that's great because they respected it, even though it may sound like they didn't when they say, all right, they put the skull on the table. It was because it had a mouth. It was because it could talk to them.
Yeah, that's
right.
It wasn't, they didn't need the body anymore. It was a given thing. Like, hey, you're not, playing baseball with me. We're just going to talk.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily need the fingers and arms and everything else.
Right.
It was respectful in its own way, even though we look at that a little differently now. And I'm not telling people that they should go and dig up their relatives, for God's sake.
No, don't. Please don't. Because if I was working, I'd have to take care of that, and I really don't want to.
You really don't want that gig, right? Like, oh, geez, somebody great thing. And speaking of that, now you worked in law enforcement, and I know on many occasions, we've gone out and sought permission from the local police to investigate, say, a public area like a cemetery that is known to be haunted. For example, in Rehoboth, a village cemetery. Little tip, wink, wink to folks in New England. There's a pretty good haunted cemetery there. And I know that personally, when I went down there and talked to the police to get permission to go in that cemetery after hours, after, dusk, they had their own stories.
Yeah.
And was that something you experienced? Did you have stories and knew you're on a good place, like they told me?
There's some strange, I'm not going to lie, there's some strange stuff over those years. And how do you feel about being equally yoked?
Questions.
No disrespect, just asking your thoughts. Linda,
thanks.
I'm not.
I know you.
I love that. You do it.
I love this question.
We respect each other and we love each other. I mean, there's nothing. What she does I think is absolutely amazing and fascinating, and we've never come to blows or butted heads over it. I've butted heads more with people out doing what I'm doing because, we always get, well, if you're a man of faith, how can you believe in this? Well, if you read the Bible, it says in there over 21 times that we live in a spirit-filled world. And I'll leave you with that.
Sure.
I don't do this to ram this down somebody's throat. I'm just out there to show you what I have encountered over the years. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. But I know what exists. I know what I've seen. And I'm not going to stop doing it just because somebody, thinks it's demonic or,
Yeah, I think that's all bullshit, right? There is so much more than what our five, and I'm going to say five graciously to the scientific community, senses can interpret, right? There's a lot more there than what we necessarily, experience. And when you do experience something odd, you shouldn't necessarily write it off because maybe it's just another sense kicking in.
I just say, people that are non-believers, that's somebody that just hasn't experienced something yet. Because there's going to be a time where somebody's going to go, oh, shit, and not going to be able to explain it away,
Right. I'm going to circle back because I don't quite answer my question about the working in law enforcement.
Yes.
And, knowing the haunted areas of your district and that sort of thing. I was very surprised and have been surprised when talking to the police about, going in after hours in certain, known haunted public locations, asking permission so we're not harassed or whatever, which is, by the way, guys, tip, wink, 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 tip, tip here. You shouldn't just go in to cemeteries or whatever it is, or abandoned houses after hours, late at night or whatever, without telling your local police about it.
Yeah,
because
you're surprised how much they.
Most likely, you ask nicely and tell them who you are, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times we'll accompany you there too, just to make sure that nobody gets hurt or anything like that. And a lot of times we have stories of the places that they're going to anyway.
That's where I was going. Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, I had a couple. I wish I could have had more, but unfortunately, other things.
You don't have to have a million, but it's a thing that happens, right? So
yeah, it does. I mean,
we'll tell you, and you probably have some place in town where you got like places. I'm not sure what your role was in law enforcement, but I know when I
deputy sheriff,
police. Well, there you go. In like places like Rehoboth, which is very haunted and has a lot of haunted locations. It's just well known. And some other areas, like they would have their own stories. Like, oh yeah, that place is screwed. You guys be careful.
Yeah.
I saw something over there that I can't explain, and that kind of thing. People that weren't professionally into the paranormal.
Real quick, what is Greg says? I hope I'm not being disrespectful. What did I miss something?
Turning your wife turning you into a frog, and then Anne-Marie Young came out and said, "That's what Doug is worried about."
No, I tell everybody, like from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, she turned me into a newt, and that's what I tell everybody. But I'm better now, so no, I'm not offended at all, Greg. Because if the lights are on, I have every action figure from Monty Python and the Holy Grail in my office here. So
we love that movie.
We love it. Yes.
Yeah. No, totally get that.
Not only with the bunny, but we also love
see the fangs.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, we're out of here. We'll be having rabbit stew tonight.
Run. No, we also.
How do you know she's a witch?
Your father smells of elderberry. No, your mother. What is it?
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite things.
Your father smells of elderberry.
Yeah, that's it.
I have the French taunter up here, and he's actually got his tongue sticking out. So I'll do that. I'll go, now go away for I taunt you a second time, you silly nigget. Now go away. Your father's of elderberries and your mother was a hamster. Now go away for I taunt you a second time.
Thank you.
The French garden, the castle.
Oh my God.
Yes. I told them we already got one.
God, we love you.
That's
You're
good stuff.
So much fun.
That is good stuff. Well, we've covered a lot of stuff here tonight, Rex, and this has been a blast.
It has.
I think everybody has appreciated you now as an artist and a paranormal investigator, because you've got some great captures. And I'll tell you again, shadow figures in photographs is about the hardest thing. It's pretty much the Holy Grail, right?
Oh,
speaking of Monty Python,
where's my
paranormal.
Excellent. Yes,
that's true. It's true. I know we don't really have that. We've got some weird stuff. We've seen a lot of strange stuff. We get a lot of audio, but getting in photography is really cool. And you have it there for sure. And some of those pictures is amazing.
I've given talks on it and classes on it about spirit photography, and I think it's the way that I've done everything since day one. I mean, I coined the phrase, and that's why it's at the bottom of the thing. Ghosts are people too,
Yes.
Don't go in and be disrespectful. Don't taunt. That's stupid. You don't want me coming to your house and yelling and screaming at you and demanding you to do something. Don't go into there doing the same thing, because you don't know what you're dealing with, and you may really regret doing what you're doing. You know, it's just like us talking. I do the same thing every time. Hi, my name is Rex. I'm not here to hurt or harm you. I'm here to hear your story. If you'd like to talk to me, I would love to hear it. If you would like to show yourself to me, please do. And that's how I do every single thing. And I think that's why I've been so blessed with what we've caught over, the 13, 14 years where we've been doing this. And I'm not going to change.
You would agree. I think it's about relationships, right? You're trying to build a relationship. And you walk into a room with a stranger, you're not going to command them to do things.
Exactly.
And that's something all the circles of the paranormal, including the occult, need to learn, because, there's an avenue in that where people draw a circle out and they say, I'm going to command you to be in my presence.
Yo, demon. No.
And that's not always a great approach. And sometimes it has very, very vile effects. Reason being, you're not building a relationship.
No.
Just like
not at all.
You're exactly saying, you need to build a relationship and need to be a little bit more friendly. Like, why would they bother talking to you?
It's ridiculous. On
they
TV.
Are capable of some things we're not. And
don't watch YouTube people. I'm sorry, YouTube people who do this and try to call out demonic demons.
Don't do that.
And we've talked about TV series as well, but they need
I mean, not everybody on YouTube, because we're on YouTube, but what we're saying.
Right. But being the demanding and being disrespectful and taunting, that's stupid.
You may trigger an effect, but it may be an effect that you don't want.
Exactly.
You got something on camera, but you know what? A better approach is to go in and just say, hey, I'm Chris, I'm Rex. How are you? Who are you? Can you tell me anything about yourself? Do you mind? Can I do this? That sort of thing.
Exactly.
I think you'll get much better responses, and clearly you do too. So we really appreciate you coming on and doing this with us.
Thank you.
And
thank
we will
you.
Thank you so much for your book again and drawing
you're very
us
welcome.
a beautiful
Thank
picture.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, can I say something right quick?
Yes,
you
please.
can say whatever you like.
October 7th, we're putting on a Paracon. If you go to All Out Paranormal's page, you'll see it. It's our first Paracon, and we're doing it at the old YMCA in Rock Island, Illinois, October 7th. And this is our first Paracon, and it's just blown up. I mean, we're doing it not as AOP doing it. We're doing it for Lisa Viner, who owns the old YMCA in Rock Island. And the place is amazing. And everything that we're making from there, all the proceeds are going to Lisa Viner to help keep that place going. And we had to stop at 52 vendors because we don't have any more room.
Oh, wow.
And Katie, who's part of our AOP, she's the one that just has spearheaded this whole thing. And we've got some amazing people showing up. And Greg Koss is going to be there.
That's what I thought. Greg.
Yes.
Said.
And this is our first one, and it's amazing how it's come across. So October 7th, it'll be just one day at the Rock Island, Illinois, at the old YMCA, which is Viner Furniture. If you're around and come down, please do. It's going to be a blast. There's going to be, of course, AOP will be there. My wife will be there selling her metaphysical stuff and her jewelry. I'll be selling my art there on top of being part of AOP. I will be giving a lecture on spirit photography. We have actually 3 lecture rooms because we've got so many people speaking. Alan Cornelius Jr. Will be there. Aaron G. Thompson and Nick from 28 Days Haunted. I've known those guys forever. Love them to death. They'll be there too. But if you just go to All Out Paranormal Facebook page, it's all over. We're putting it everywhere. It's on TikTok. It's on Facebook. We're getting it out there, and we're excited about it. It's turned out way better than we ever expected. and we're just thrilled about it.
That
So anyway, I'd have been beaten by the rest of everybody in the group if I hadn't mentioned that. So
right. And you always got to remember everybody too. It's like, oh, what's the one person? And you're on the spot, But that is fantastic. And again, this has been a huge pleasure of ours.
Yes.
We've enjoyed.
Thank you so much.
Heck out of
thank
talking
you.
to you.
It's been an honor.
We hope to do it again.
Yes.
And I think
Anytime.
Book and artwork. We really
Anytime.
appreciate it.
Yes.
We're fans. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I'm a fan of yours, I was actually drawing all this week, and I was listening to you guys' previous podcast. That's what I put my earbuds in, and that's what I was listening to when I was drawing all week long. So
thank you so
Fantastic.
much from our heart. Yes, thank you.
thank you. I love you guys. Thank you for having me.
We love you back.
Stick around
Thank
for
you,
1
Aaron.
second, please.
And
You betcha.
wrap
I'm
things
not
up.
that easy to get rid of. So
No, just kidding. Awesome. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys for
Thank
joining us as usual
Yeah,
on
in our
Bigfoot and the
hearts.
Bunny and our Dark Horse show on Thursdays. We got lots of great stuff coming up for you, and I know our shows have been a little bit erratic, but they kind of come together with a schedule, and life gets in the way, and it's summertime, and we're doing stuff, and we want to try some new things as well.
Yes.
And we're going to be putting different things out for you guys to check out and evaluate, and please let us know what you think.
Please like and subscribe. I hate saying this, I really do, because we hear it like everywhere else.
Click
but
the bell.
Please like and subscribe Dark Horse Paranormal on YouTube.
It's not that many shows. You can click the bell if you want. It just gives them a notification.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, but just like and subscribe Dark Horse Paranormal, because I think at some point we are just going to go to YouTube.
All right, which is not to say that we don't love our current networks. Paranormal
Oh my God,
United
me too.
Network,
God, yeah.
Paranormal UK, who we owe some material to. If you're a podcaster, we have an awful lot out there, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
Paranormal
That's what
UK Radio
The
Network,
Bunny,
they are great, and
Mark Johnson and Eileen.
yeah, super. Paranormal United Network. We saw Howard tonight, and it's great to see, and I know they're planning Fear Fest
Yes.
coming up, and that's going to be great. We'll be talking more about that as well. A super Paracon, so should be good. And thank you guys. Stay safe out there.
Good night, guys.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining.